in Albany 2 years ago and sat down in Senator DeFrancisco's office during his very first really advocacy visit and told the senator his story. So Jeff, take over, and this will be the closing.
William Lopez served He served 23 and a half years in prison, wrongfully convicted, actually here in Brooklyn. He was the first success story of my foundation. He had a pair of lawyers, Richard Levin and Yvonne Shivers, who I've been with him for about 8-9 years, and in the last year of his incarceration, Bill had reached out to me and my foundation, asking us to join his attorneys in the effort to exonerate him. And we were able to do that. We were able to help turn up some additional evidence of innocence, and he was exonerated. Afterwards, the foundation assisted him in reintegrating back in society in a variety of ways. Both of the reforms that we're talking about here tonight, automatic discovery and the Commission on Prosecutor Conduct, were definitely things which, if they were in place, could have prevented William Lopez's wrongful incarceration. So I guess the thumbnail of his case was that he was wrongfully convicted of a shotgun murder. There were 2 witnesses against him. The first witness could not make an in-court identification of him, so now the case becomes a 1-witness case. This one witness had been up for 24 hours, had used 12 to 14 vials of drugs, and had initially claimed that she was being given a deal in exchange for testimony, only to later say that the deal had been withdrawn and she was simply testifying because it was the right thing to do. At the same time, Bill's lawyers were terrible. He had a pair of alibi witnesses, his in-laws that he was with at the time that the crime had happened, and his lawyers convinced Bill to agree for the attorney not to call them. Because after all, alibi witnesses are never believed, they'll lie and say anything, and besides, as a defense attorney, it's not your job to prove that your client's innocent, it's up to the prosecution to prove that they're guilty, or so the naive legal maxim goes. So, trusting in his lawyers, he went along with that. And the end result of it was that he was wrongfully imprisoned. William's innocence is demonstrable from many different directions. Firstly, the perpetrators were described as Panamanian, whereas Bill was Puerto Rican. They were described as 6'2", yet he was 5'7", 5'8". The perpetrators were 100 pounds heavier than what he was. The witness whose deal supposedly got retracted miraculously walked out of jail 2 weeks after he had been convicted. An affidavit was provided by a prison inmate who said that this woman who had cut the deal, that she had confessed to her that she was falsely implicating Bill in exchange for her own freedom. A witness was located who testified via Skype from the Dominican Republic, who had been an eyewitness to the crime, who had been forced at gunpoint to knock on the door of the apartment where the drugs were being sold. He testified in the courtroom that Bill was not involved. The culmination was a ruling from Federal Judge Garof's 57-page decision, which started out by saying that the case was rotten from day one, and which culminated in his saying that he should be released with the state's apology. I'd like to just invite just simply to stand next to me for a moment Bill's wife Alice and his mother Lydia. Could you come and stand next to me just for a moment? William Lopez only remained free for a year and a half. He's turned the picture around of our comrade William Bill Lopez, so everybody could see. For those of us who knew him, you know, Bill was a good sergeant. You know, he wasn't the general, he wasn't quarterbacking anything. He didn't want to. He didn't necessarily know how to. But he did know how to carry out orders and to coordinate. All I had to do, Bill, I have a media interview for you to do. We're furthering the course. He was there. Bill, come on, I'm gonna go speak someplace, but I need you to come in the audience and speak a little bit too. Bill, listen, another speaking opportunity. You're the headliner this time. Bill, we got an advocacy strategy session where it can happen to you. Bill, could you participate in this press conference? Whatever we needed him to do, Bill did. And we miss you a lot, Bill. All right, so Bill would be very happy that, you know, we're sharing his story tonight, and that we share it in the future, that we reflect on it, that we use it in the course of these reforms we're talking about tonight and many others. I know in the future, you know, Alice has promised that in the great tradition of Betty Ann Waters, who often speaks for her deceased brother Ricky Waters of the movie Conviction, that she's going to join our movement, you know, and stand for Bill and do some of the things that Bill would do. And so I guess as I close this, I'd just like to ask just for a brief 30 seconds of silence for our friend, our comrade, William Bill Lopez. Thank you.